Hi, this is Kathie with Craft with Kathie. I do apologize. I thought I was a few minutes early, and what I just now realized is I hadn't pushed the live button. I hadn't started yet. So, here we are. Tonight's project is going to be using this transfer of Let Your Dreams Be Your Wings. What a nice inspirational piece. If you want to just take a moment and drop a line to let me know where you're watching from, that would be really cool. I'm coming at you from the suburbs of Chicago, where things have warmed up here in this horrendous mix of snow and ice that has been hanging off the roof and coating the cars and is in great big mounds all over, has started to melt, which is wonderful. Can't wait for spring. Can't come soon enough. So if you have any questions or whatever, just drop a comment and I'd be happy to answer. If you have any suggestions, same thing. If I don't see them as we're going live, I will respond to them later. Always looking for input and suggestions and ideas. I saw this transfer and I thought, wow, what a great inspiration. I kind of, maybe, I don't know, I'm thinking of graduation or whatever, but I can remember my commencement speech, the speeches that were given, and they were full of inspiration. Follow your passion, follow your dreams, do what makes you happy. And I think that's good advice, but sometimes in the big mix of making a living and doing whatever we do, we forget about it. And so I think this is a nice, gentle little reminder to let your dreams be your wings. Follow what you love. You'll be happier. I was always taught, don't worry about money. It'll come. Do what you like. So that's what I do. I'm going to do this on this beautiful 8-in board. It has a 9x12 chalkboard surface. It is a porcelain magnetic surface. And it's one of the premium boards by Chalk Couture. I've used this for a while now. I just earlier this evening washed off my Rise Up design that was on it using my trusty little scraper, which you could use just a little elbow grease and a spritz of water and paper towels also. Anyway, without further ado, this is the lovely 8-in board. It's great, obviously reusable, magnetic base, which we'll get into that in a little bit of how the magnets are going to help us. And, oh my goodness, totally lost my train of thought. Oh, this is a magnetized porcelain chalkboard with a 50-year warranty. So it's a beautiful board, distressed looked, and holds up well to repeated use because it sure gets it around here. So this is the transfer, and there was a little bit of issue with this. The first run missed the actual cut lines. There's like a slight indentation that I could see here, but generally this transfer would show cut lines where you could cut the feathers out. So future runs, they're repairing that right now and fixing it, so subsequent orders will have the cut lines, but you could cut without them. It doesn't really matter. Our transfers are vinyl, which is the teal, and silkscreen, which is the clear. You're seeing through to the backing. The transfers are adhesive backed, so they're reusable, generally 8 to 12 times with proper care, and care is really easy. Just basically rinse your transfer, which is kind of like a stencil, but we call them transfers, in lukewarm water. Rinse off all the chalk paste or the ink if you're using ink, and then clean it up with a disinfectant wipe, which is why I have these handy here. You clean the chalk off the front, you flip it over, clean the chalk off the back, and wipe off any lint that you may have gotten on the back of your transfer. Now, why might you have lint on the back of your transfer? Well, especially when a transfer is brand new, it's rather sticky. And we want it to be sticky so it sticks to our surface, to our board. Our transfers can be used on, obviously, chalkboard, dry erase boards, wood, glass, mirror, metals, just about any hard surface. But when we apply it to a surface, we want it to stick strongly enough so that we get a nice image transferred to the surface. But we don't want it to stick so much that we're tugging and pulling to get it off. And especially in the when using metal, glass, or mirror as a surface, your transfers, the adhesive will stick more. So to get around that, we deliberately apply lint or fuzz using a fuzzing cloth. This is my fuzzing cloth. One side is terry cloth, the other side is like a microfiber. I used the microfiber earlier when I cleaned my board. After I removed the chalk, I just wiped it dry with the microfiber so it doesn't leave any streaks or anything. So to do this, remove the transfer from its backing. You can see the transfer is shiny. The adhesive side is very shiny. And the backing is shiny. And it has a dull side. We want to put the shiny side, the adhesive to the shiny side of the backer. And to make sure that I don't make a mistake with that, I usually write the name of the transfer on my backing sheet so I don't inadvertently grab the wrong one. It's not difficult when it's all one piece like this, but if I'm using multiple transfers of different sizes, it helps to know which backing goes to which transfer. So I just put the name on the back so that I don't inadvertently stick it to the dull side, and I also know which goes to which. So I'm going to lift this off of the backer and place it on my fuzzing cloth. Gently apply it, lift it up, apply it again. In general, I fuzz like 3 times for my new transfers. Excuse me, I need to take a sip of iced tea here. For some reason, very parched tonight. And you can kind of hear how it's sticking to the fabric. Okay, so let me get my board back up here. And I'm going to peel this off of my fuzzing cloth and then center it on my board. Whoops, stuck to my fingers there. This looks pretty good. And I'm going to smooth it down from the center out, being sure that there are no air bubbles underneath it. And what do I see right here through my silk screen? Let me lift this up. You always want to lift from the top, bottom, left, or right. You never want to pull your transfer on the diagonal. Ooh, this is really, really sticky. You know what? I'm going to fuzz it more than once. But me and my feathers. I picked up a little feather on the back of the transfer. Let me get a little bit closer so I could see a little better and pull off that feather. Definitely did not want that there, and thought I had cleaned my surface well enough. Let me fuzz once or twice more. It's a little bit stickier than I realized. You never want to pull your transfer up on the diagonal because our transfers are like fabric, and if you pull them on the bias, you could actually distort or stretch them. So top, bottom, left, or right is fine. And I know it sounds like there's a lot of instructions and information behind this, but actually it's real simple. If you can butter toast, you can chalk. And I'm not pressing really hard by the feathers because I'm not really going to be chalking there. Actually, I'm going to lift it up and replace it down again because I just realized something. I need it centered a little bit better from top to bottom. Sticky, sticky, sticky. As long as you clean your transfers properly and protect the adhesive, don't let them sit in water for extended periods of time, you'll be fine and be able to get your 12 or more uses out of the transfer. It's very warm in here. Someone had the heat up to 75 with an additional space heater going. So it's a little stifling, and my hands are warm, which are making them stick to the transfer and making the transfer actually stick more than normal. Let me lift that up and do it again. And try not to get my mitts all over it. Okay, and I'm going to use our Sage chalk paste. I want to make sure my paste is the proper consistency. I want it somewhere in between, I saw another piece of feather, somewhere in between sour cream and yogurt. If my paste is too thick, then I would add a little spritz of distilled water to it and mix it up. If I make it too thin, then I just leave the cover off and let it dry a bit. Our paste is made from chalk, so it's a good idea when you're done using it, before you put it away, spritz a little water on the top of it before you seal it. This looks like it's fine consistency-wise. So let me get my tea out of the way, grab my squeegee, and apply the chalk paste. And it's just a matter of really pushing the chalk through the silk screen, removing any excess and removing any lines. So as you can see, this goes very, very quickly. I want to make sure that I have nice even coverage. I've got some excess paste here that I'm going to return back to the jar. No sense in wasting it. And I want to remove any of my lines. The lines don't hurt anything, but I want a nice crisp image, so I don't want any lines through the actual text or design. And I think this looks pretty good. Our chalk is water soluble, which makes cleanup very easy for the transfer for your fingers and for anything you might get the chalk paste on. So I'm going to lift this in a 90-degree angle and now go put it in a water bath to remove the chalk paste from it. What do you think? Little spritz of water in my chalk paste. Seal it up. The water on top keeps the paste moist and from evaporating. So let's put that aside. Now, let's talk about feathers. Earlier this evening, but it might not have been earlier enough, I decided I wanted to add a feather to this board. And I have taken some feathers that I had. I didn't use everything I had. I decided not to use the black feather, not necessary. And I glued them to a magnet with some E6000 and thought this would be a really nice embellishment to this board. What do you think? I should probably trim this, I think, a little bit. I don't want to fiddle with it too much as my glue is still a little, it's not totally dried. But how do you like that? Nice, quick, easy piece of home decor in about 15 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it. Stay tuned for more videos later this week.